Well, welcome in once again, everybody, to a very special edition of the 19th Hole Podcast for golfers. I'm your host, Dennis Silvers, and we've got a great show for you today. We're going to be talking a little bit of golf, but we're going to be talking about something you all know that I love, and that's kind of politics along with law enforcement. Of course, we're coming to you live from the great Rigel Studios, right in the heart of the entertainment capital of the world, and you know that's Las Vegas, Nevada. Hey, we are fully open, so get an airplane ticket, get a rail ticket, grab a bus, drive here or whatever. Everything is open and everything is absolutely great. The weather is kind of cooling off. I told you last show, every day we're setting a record for, heat. But it's finally coming down a little bit, so it is a great time to visit, and we hope to see you soon, and we hope to see you on a golf course, obviously. We've got a very wonderful guest today, and I want to tell you a little bit about him before we put him on camera. Joe Lombardo is a veteran of the United States Army, and he also served in the National Guard and Army Reserve, so I guess he couldn't get enough, is what you say. After service to the country, Joe then turned his dedication to protecting the community, serving in law enforcement for over 30 years, if you can imagine that. Moving quickly through the ranks after he joined the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, affectionately known as Metro around here. And after 26 years, Joe was elected as the sheriff of Clark County in 2014. And I got to tell you, it seems like a hell of a lot longer than that for a lot, all good reasons, but for a lot of reasons. Sheriff Lombardo maintains many professional affiliations connected with law enforcement, as well as serving as a board member on various nonprofits. And the Sheriff Lombardo holds a BS and an MS in crisis management, both, by the way, from UNLV right here in Las Vegas. The crisis management part comes in very handy, I want you to know, whenever Joe is seen on the golf course. So we'll talk about that. So it's my pleasure right now to bring up on camera Sheriff Joe Lombardo. Sheriff, thanks so much for taking time out, really, because I know you got a really busy schedule.
Absolutely, Dennis. I appreciate you having me on the show, and I'm really interested to find out the correlation between crisis management and golf.
Well, we're going to talk about
You alluded to that.
We're going to talk about, I want you to know, and Joe, of course, is like me, like a lot of other people. He's a Republican, so he's on the right side of the aisle. But I want you to know, unlike some of the press conferences coming out of the White House by our beloved president, this is not going to be a softball interview. So, just get ready.
Okay.
So the first question I want to ask you is, what's your favorite flavor of ice cream?
That's easy, man. That's quick. I don't even have to hesitate like when I ask you what your handicap is.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? So that's chocolate.
Me too. Me too. All right, let's get off with something I know that's very near and dear to you. How's your golf game?
Well, it's suffering right now, and to be frank with you, I hadn't played for almost 2 years, and because I'm coming off the heels of rotator cuff surgery on both my shoulders. First one, my right shoulder, then my left shoulder, and as you can imagine, the rehab associated with that, and even the ability to chip a ball 10 yards is very difficult during the rehab, and so almost 2 years, I'm fully functioning now, thankfully, and I started banging the ball around here in the last 2 months, and so
good.
I'm comfortable saying 12, 13 handicap.
Okay, just dangerous enough.
Yeah, just dangerous enough, but unfortunately, I don't have enough time to get a better handicap than that.
I know.
Because I'm currently wearing two hats. I'm still your sheriff, and I'm running for governor.
It's coming. It's coming as priorities. All right. With that being said, I want to ask you seriously, what was your primary motivation to run for and to become governor of the great state of Nevada?
Crisis management. I mean, that's the easiest way to approach it and the quickest answer I can give you, because as you've seen in the last 18 months of a pandemic, we've had a in my opinion, a deplorable response to this pandemic coming out of the governor's office, and that's my specialty. I've been dealing with it for 33 years and how to respond to a crisis. And most of your politicians don't sign up to deal with crisis. They sign up to be called governor or president or whatever that. They just don't like doing the job part of it. And in my opinion, the state itself should have responded vastly different in the early throes of the pandemic and even as we continue through it. So, an example I'll give you is, how do you have bars open, but you don't have schools open? I mean, that's a simple way to put it, right?
Really good point.
And then the decision on who are the winners and the losers, who's essential and non-essential, and the reasons that were given associated with those decisions, I thought were very weak. And it was hard for me to have an understanding. And in tune, you're asking my law enforcement officers to do enforcement associated with those decisions, and it's very hard for them to explain somebody, hey, I realize this is your livelihood, this could put you on the street eventually because you can't function in your business, but this is the mandate given by the governor, and we are by law enforced, empowered to make that enforcement. But I'm here to tell you right up front, we at LVMPD didn't actually close down a business during that, because we thought it was more appropriate to provide education first, and then hopefully we got some compliance. So a lot of times it was just because people didn't have tables spread out enough or anything. But all the reasonings behind it all and everything, I thought it was poor deployment, and I felt it was my need to protect a person versus hurt them.
There you go.
And that's the attitude we took.
We're going to get into that. All right, let's get into some specifics, Sheriff. Some people think, tourists as well as local, Sheriff, think that the homeless situation here in Las Vegas has gotten to the point where they don't feel as safe as they used to around that. How would you address that?
I would agree with their assessment, because homeless situation is not Las Vegas unique. It's nationwide.
All over.
I mean, you've seen a significant increase in the homeless population across
all over
the United States, and I think that's partly because of a couple reasons. One is the lack of resources given to municipalities and counties and states to address those certain class of individuals. To include, substance abuse resources, alcoholism resources, mental health issues associated with homelessness, and everything else that goes along with it. Those resources have been significantly reduced throughout time. And then as a result of that, you see a homeless population proliferating. And the majority of those, and a lot of people think it's just because it's a lack of housing resources, where in fact that is false. The majority of your homeless population have some sort of mental illness or substance abuse problem.
Right.
And they're not seeking housing more often than not. And I know that personally, because my officers encounter them every day, right?
Every day, right.
So let's go back to your original questions. The tourists are seeing a different sense. Yeah, that's true, they are. And we're doing everything within our power to help control that environment, provide some resources for that that class of folks, and then move forward from there. So it's not falling on false ears, or we're not ignoring the problem. We realize it is a problem, and we're attempting to address it.
It's a big
undertaking.
Deal. I think, though, Sheriff, most people in Clark County, I certainly do, and I know the people in the studio do, think that we have a damn good police department under your watch. So how do you, as governor, help keep this garbage, this defund the police crap out of our state? And if anything, be able to give more money to law enforcement agencies throughout Nevada?
Yeah, you're right. So it depends on what your priorities are, right? And then, so let me build off your original question, why I'm running for governor. Well, let's make it a little bit bigger, and you talk about Republican and Democrat. So the foundation of our government, the United States, is based on a little push and pull, bipartisan government, Republican, Democrat. And now it's the independents are rearing their heads. But it's a discourse, discussion, consensus, and eventually decisions are made. But when you have a one-party rule like we're experiencing currently in the state of Nevada, you have groupthink. Whatever the party believes we should do. That's the policies we're going to implement within the state environment, and you can't have that. So what better position than the governor's position to make a change in that? And for those that may not know, amongst your listening audience, there's going to be a special session of the legislature coming up here soon, and they're going to do some redistricting, and that'll be to the benefit of the Democratic Party. So it makes it even more important to replace the governors into a Republican position. So you have the ability to push back on a majority of the House, of both houses, which is the Senate and Assembly, and to say, no, I don't agree with your guys' groupthink. I don't agree the direction you're trying to take the state. And me as the governor have the authority to either veto or say that's a non-starter.
Right.
So that's the important piece on that. So when you're talking about law enforcement and defunding the police and everything, well, the last two sessions, the legislature has been very proactive in increasing felon rights, decreasing sentences associated with particular crimes. And I wouldn't use the term defund the police, but handcuffing the police, limiting our ability to do our job within the restraints of the Constitution. Yes, they have done that, and we're seeing the effect of that currently from the last two sessions in how we're fighting crime here, not only locally, but throughout the state.
Throughout the state, yeah, that's very, very well said. All right, I'll tell you what, it's that time again. We've got to step away, take a short break here on the 19th Hole Podcast for Golfers. When we come back, we've got a lot more for our very special guest, Sheriff Joe Lombardo. Stay with us. We're back with you right after this.
Golfers at every level strive to hit the ball like a tour player, setting the club perfectly at the top, storing all the energy as they unwind and their clubhead approaches the ball, striking it flush at impact and staring it down as it explodes off the club towards the target. Introducing Precision Impact. Precision Impact is the single tool that will accelerate that process and get anybody striking the ball with complete command. Unlike any other product, Precision Impact is designed to keep the hands quiet and prevent the fatal flipping or scooping of the hands. This amazing product will actually reprogram your brain to keep your hands in the perfect textbook position. Precision Impact will soon have you hitting the most crisp, consistent shots of your life. As you start your backswing, you should hear several clicks as your wrist folds properly for a perfect set at the top of your swing. From there, allow your arms to fall as you aggressively rotate through the ball, knowing your Precision Impact will keep your hands and clubhead in the ideal position. Order now at PrecisionImpactGolf.com and never look back.
Hey golfers, I've been a golf talk show host for a long time, and I've been playing golf even longer. Being in golf media, I've had the chance to play every ball ever made. I've tried them all. Well, my search is finally over because I found the best ball I have ever played with. And more golfers are finding the same thing. I started playing with the Elixir golf ball made by Encore Golf. Encore Golf has revolutionized both their golf balls, the Elixir or the Avant 55, or the brand new Vero X1, to where the performance of either will simply blow you away. It did me. If you're looking for better performance and durability with your ball, Encore Golf has it. Don't just take my word for it. Check them out at EncoreGolf.com and you'll become convinced, as I am, the first time you tee it up with Encore. It's the best performing ball for the price. Go to EncoreGolf.com and see for yourself. Your scores will love you for it. That's ONCORE Golf.com. All right, we are back, everybody, with more than 19th Hole Podcast for Golfers with our very special guest, Sheriff Joe Lombardo, who just happens to be a candidate for governor of the state of Nevada. And Sheriff, I want to continue. You know, there's an expression that's often used in politics that say he or she is a law and order candidate. Well, in your case, that's very true, obviously. So does that help separate you from your competition?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're right. You're correct. A law and order candidate, but the proof is in the pudding. So, one of the people that is running against me, I won't mention his name because there's no reason to, but they have a voting record of 20-something years. So they can't use that as their mantra for running for office, law and order. And I think people want to use that law and order statement because that's what society wants. That's what communities want. That's what economies want. To get people to come here and visit and feel safe when they come here, because you mentioned it, just like the homeless, you want that feeling of safety, and that all revolves around law and order.
True.
And, economies are bolstered and communities are bolstered by the strength of their police departments, and people embrace that when they run for politics, right? Run for office.
Absolutely.
But in the current trend, I got to be frank with you, they're not seeming to embrace that in the last few years, but now they're seeing the results of that.
Right.
Hands-off approach and the crime rates rising across the United States as a result of their philosophy and their ideas in criminal justice reform. And now they're starting to come that direction
Go
again,
the
law and
other
order.
way.
So.
And I think it's from the latest polls, most of the country, they do want more cops.
Right.
They want good.
I think that's a silent majority thing, right? So
Absolutely.
you hear the loudmouths out there, and they, they're defaming the police and talking about defunding the police and not embracing them, like we are the enemy as compared to the saviors. And now they're starting to see the wares or the answers to their actions,
Right.
and they're starting to see them come the other way. And in my 33 years in law enforcement, the pendulum swings over left and swings right, swings left, swings right. Well, it's starting to swing back in support of the police.
Absolutely, as it should be. What, in your opinion, Sheriff, should be the most important attribute for someone to be a good and effective governor?
Do what you say. Establish some vision. And that's one of my biggest complaints about the current governor. He has not established any vision, providing any vision to the state on what he wants the state to look like, during his tenure and into the future. I think it's important for you to establish that vision, what you think it should look like, especially in the education space and everything else that goes along with running a state. And then meet those goals. Do everything you do and all your actions, speak true to your word, is probably the most important thing to say is if you provide that vision, all your actions should go towards that vision and accomplish those goals that you are setting for the state and yourself. And I don't see that happening currently.
Yeah, and I don't see that obviously on the national level as easy either. What's the hardest part about being sheriff of Clark County?
Being a solution to everybody's problems. There's a lot of nuances, and I'm glad you asked that question because you can build on it to, people's maybe some of their angst and support of me is, well, he's a police officer. How can he run the state? Well, in my position, especially at LVMPD, is I have a $1.3 billion budget. All right, and I have 6,000 employees, so I'm involved in every aspect that a state office would be involved on. Quality of life for my employees, quality of life for the communities, everything that goes along with public safety and health benefits and health services and everything, as you can imagine, running a large police department. So I think it's an easy transition from being the sheriff of a large agency in that law and order aspect into a state level office. What was the original crux of the question? No, let's go back to it because I think it segued a little bit on there.
I was asking you, obviously every job has some difficulties, but the hardest part really of being sheriff over such a big department. And a lot of people.
Yeah, and it's knowing that you're doing the right thing for the masses versus the individual people. Sometimes people get caught up in little individual problems and what they perceive is the most important thing. And I think the hardest thing for being sheriff is having an answer for the masses versus the minority of folks and what I believe is the right thing to do. for the majority.
And remember, you can't be everything to everybody. That's just
Everybody's got a pet peeve, right?
That's right. That's exactly
Well,
right.
it's just like political candidates. You can't have 100% somebody that you can be on board with, right?
No way. And if they tell you they do, they're absolutely lying. All right, another short break. Sorry, we got to step away, but we'll come back and we'll finish up with Sheriff Joe Lombardo. We're back after this.
One of the buzzwords happening in golf is the word lag. You hear it all the time, but what is it, and how do I get it? Lag simply is the loading of the club to help produce tons of power in your golf swing. Up until now, getting lag into your swing has been very hard. Introducing the Lag Shot, a brand new proven training aid being praised by some of the leading PGA Tour instructors across the globe. This practice aid trains your hands, arms and body how to make a powerful, efficient golf swing with an amazing amount of lag. Lag Shot is a 7-iron length club with the same loft, and lie with a whippy, flexible blue shaft, and a beautiful jet black club head. After you master the Lag Shot, your game will change forever with a stress-free swing, more power and more distance with lower scores every time you play. Go to lagshotgolf.com, and you'll see why this truly is becoming the #1 training aid in golf. Visit lagshotgolf.com. As golfers, we want instant gratification when it comes to a better golf swing and playing better golf. Impossible, you say? Not anymore. Golf Boost Artificial Intelligence, AI, has developed and patented the most advanced swing analysis technology in golf. Simply, the algorithms detect your body position and then analyze your golf swing using their artificial intelligence technology. The AI captures all the relevant data from your swing video and then presents you a personalized lesson. Golf Boost AI is the ultimate swing analysis and virtual instruction system for golfers of all ages and abilities. This sophisticated software takes into consideration your height and build, playing level, and returns the ideal solution for your swing. Bottom line, Golf Boost AI is an incredibly convenient and cost-effective tool for golfers to improve their swing. Go to golfboost.com and check it out. The app is free to download and try. Visit golfboost.com today.
All right, we are back as promised, and having a great conversation with Sheriff Lombardo, and keeping our fingers crossed. Just to deviate a bit, Sheriff, I love dogs, and I love Metro's Canine Unit. I emceed a couple of events that you guys had out of Boulder City for a fundraiser for Metro Canine. How important of a role does Metro Canine play in the overall scheme of things?
So you confused me right from the beginning. I have a love for dogs and segue. I was like, geez, how do you go from golf to dogs to love and then what I'm talking about? But you did pretty good there.
Thank you.
Yeah, dogs are awesome, right? And no matter whether you have a dog at home or not, but in police work, they're awesome. And here, let me explain why. So we equate, if you put a formula to it, a dog and their performance is probably equivalent to about 5 police officers.
Really?
Yeah, when you say, well, they're not going up to cars and issuing citations and, responding to robberies. Yeah, but when you get into that search function, which we do a lot of on police work in police departments, and you're looking for a suspect, or you're looking for a missing person, or you're looking for maybe an explosive device, no matter what it may be that we utilize dogs in, their ability with their sniff factor and what they do as animals is equivalent to about 5 police officers. So you can see the benefit of that. That's a force multiplier for us in our ability to do things very quickly in the time of need. So yeah, dogs are fantastic. We very rarely use them in the patrol function when we're having them chase down a suspect. That's a very small portion of what they do on a daily basis. The majority of what they do is in a search function, and and they're fantastic.
And
They're
I've seen them
fantastic.
up close and personal, and I got to tell you, I sure as hell don't want one chasing me with a head this big and teeth this big, like a Belgian Malamute or something like that. They're unbelievable.
Yeah, they are. They're pretty awesome. And they require a very large amount of extensive training to be a viable police canine.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of expense that goes along with it. And plus, the police officers themselves have to maintain and care for those animals on a regular basis. They take them home with them. You know, they're housed with them. They have to feed them and everything that goes along with dog
Yeah.
ownership. And then have them as their partner at
Yeah,
work.
they're just absolutely
The
incredible.
one particular issue we have with them, you know, though, is a hurdle with the dog is our environment here in the desert. Their ability to work for extended period of times is limited because of the heat.
Because of the heat.
So quite often you'll see as a citizen around town, you'll see a canine vehicle running, and there will be a dog in there. There won't be any police officer in there because they have to keep the air conditioner
Yeah.
running so
Yeah.
they don't overheat.
Yeah, absolutely. Very important for both animal and human being. All right, so what's you've made this announcement, you threw your ring in the hat, you're gung-ho, blah, 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 blah. So what's the schedule for Sheriff Joe Lombardo? How are you going to get out there and tell
that's-
everybody to get out and vote for,
Well, that's the grand
vote for Joe?
Yeah, exactly. That's the grand old question, right? Because I'm wearing two hats.
Yeah.
First and foremost, I'm your sheriff. And I will be your sheriff all the way to the end, December 31st of next year, because that's what the voters voted me to do. And I think it would be inappropriate for me to resign that position to run for another office. I don't want anybody thinking, is this just another stepping stone into another office? That's not it. There's a lot of other reasons and benevolent reasons for me to do what I'm doing. So I have to be sheriff first and foremost, and then have to work into the campaign as part of that. So I'm going to be old and tired by the end of this campaign. Probably a little more gray hair, but I'm going to work through it. So how the campaign is progressing now is there, you know, unfortunately, it takes a significant financial effort to be successful in politics, especially here in the United States and locally. So I'll be raising money in support of the campaign for the next year and a half. But more importantly, in these first few months leading into the beginning of the year. And then at the beginning of the year, we'll be pounding the streets and meeting people and shaking hands. And right now, I'm just doing, you know, ancillary meetings and interviews and just like today's podcast.
Yeah.
And that's what I'll be doing to the end of the year. And then we'll really go head over heels
Yeah, you
into
have
the
to.
campaign.
Yeah.
Moving forward, because you got to, you know, remember this is statewide now. A lot of people know me in
Exactly.
Southern Nevada, so now they got to get to know me in Northern
Well,
Nevada.
I was going to say, you know, you bring up a good point because, you know, Clark County is very big. You have a big department here. We've had, you know, Metro gets a fair amount of publicity over one thing or another. I have a feeling, Sheriff, that people in Northern Nevada know a little bit about you
Yeah, they
also.
do. But, you know, sometimes it's for the wrong reason, right? Because you get thrust into the spotlight similar to 1 October. And
Yeah.
so that's, I mean, the world got to know who Joe Lombardo was as a result of that.
yeah.
For the wrong reasons,
Yeah.
right? But people get to know you for different reasons, and that's part of it. And the other things is because of the job we've done as LVMPD, and a lot of people look up to us as a banner agency and
Totally.
and you know, a best practice agency, and
Totally.
and that's how you get your name out there and sell it. So.
Yeah, yeah. I think of the agencies that we have here in Southern Nevada. I'm talking about Highway Patrol. I'm talking about Boulder City. I'm talking about Henderson. I'm talking about North Las Vegas and stuff. They're all pretty damn good.
Yeah, they are. And I think it's a result of our relationship with each other. A lot of jurisdictions you go to, they don't even talk to each other. But here, in particular, Southern Nevada, to include Northern Nevada, because I have relationships with all those police departments, it's a communication thing. We all communicate together, rely on each other. You know, we share resources, and you don't see that dynamic in a lot of locations. And we're unique here. To include, we have a very robust relationship with the fire department. You know, and I think all our professionalism, it rises to a different level because of that
Yeah,
relationship.
absolutely, and they do a great job as well. All right, let's get to it. You mentioned donations. You need to raise money. That's just a fact of life in everybody's campaign. Tell everybody out there about your website, where they could donate, where they could help you, whatever.
Yeah, great question. Thank you. So Joe Lombardo.
And he didn't pay me for it either.
Exactly.
I want you to know that.
So obviously we have all the social media handles, but you can access all that via online. So that's www.joelombardo4nv.com.
Okay.
NV being obviously the abbreviation for Nevada. joelombardo4nv.com.
Okay.
And that'll answer all your questions, opportunity to volunteer for the campaign.
There you go.
And
That's
learn
important.
more about Joe Lombardo and the campaign. And if you want to donate, which is very vital to success of campaigns, you can do that there also.
That's great. Well, I gave you my $5, so I have no guilt. But seriously, if this campaigns are all about volunteering. He can't do it himself. That's why he's got a great team. But if you want to walk, knock on doors, you want yard signs, you want to, whatever, go to the website and get it done, because he's the guy.
They can answer all the questions right there at the website.
He's the guy that we need in this state. Anyway, Sheriff, thank you so much for coming on.
Absolutely, Dennis.
I know you got a very busy
I
schedule.
know, that's a pretty weak grip for a good golf game.
I know. I'm working on it.
No, I'm just...
So you're pounding balls now. I'm so happy that you're back out in the golf course.
No. Let's back up. I don't pound balls.
Well,
I don't practice. I just show up and expect miracles. You're like most golfers.
I know. I got a magic club here that I just spent $500 on a new driver.
In every round after 18, what does every golfer say? I need to go to the driving range, and they never do.
They never do. Yeah, I never do. Are you playing with a regular group of guys? 'Cause
Yeah,
I know you used to play with Bill Young all the time, and former sheriff, and who else?
Well, a lot of the guys I play with, it's a normal group, a foursome. We play either on Saturday or Sundays, and they're retired police officers. So, and Bill Young, every once in a while he comes out. He likes to bang it around a little bit.
Yeah, he's a good
I won't talk about his handicap. I don't want to embarrass the guy.
I love it. Anyway, we're going to have Sheriff Joe back on sooner than later as the campaign progresses a little bit, just as a reminder for you guys. And it's been a treat, and get out and work for this guy. Anyway, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of the 19th Hole Podcast for Golfers. I've been your host, Dennis Silvers, and on behalf of the Sheriff, we thank you for watching, and just keep it in the fairway, and we'll see you back same place, same time next week. So long, everybody. When it comes to golf, I'm a man of few words, as you'll see. Looking for out-of-this-world technology in your golf ball? Encore Golf. Looking for exceptional performance and durability? Encore Golf. Looking for the best performing ball for the price? Encore Golf. Check them out at Encore Golf. That's ONCORE golf.com. Your scores will thank you.
Innovation begins at a single point. Elements, each with their unique character. Fire-forged steel creates unprecedented control. Chemistry delivers a touch so soft, combined to create a level of performance previously unimagined. Like magic, the Elixir, the new tour ball from Encore.